As we head into the winter of 2025-2026, all eyes are on the skies and the shifting patterns that could define the season ahead. This year, the atmosphere is setting the stage for a winter that may be unlike anything we've experienced in recent memory. Across cities and towns, people are bracing themselves for a season that could be colder, longer, and snowier than anything we've seen in years. From icy sidewalks to snow-laden rooftops, the signs of a harsh winter are already beginning to show. Meteorologists are closely monitoring a rare and powerful atmospheric event, sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW. This phenomenon, which occurs high above the Earth's surface, has the potential to disrupt typical weather patterns and send shockwaves through the climate across the US, Canada, and Europe. This early SSW, expected to unfold in late November and early December, could essentially open the Arctic's icy gates, unleashing waves of frigid air that surge southward. The result? A dramatic drop in temperatures and the possibility of intense, prolonged cold snaps. If you live in the northern plains, the Midwest, the Northeast, or southern Canada, you'll want to prepare for a winter that echoes the legendary cold spells of decades past. Expect long stretches of sub-zero temperatures, frequent snowstorms, and a landscape transformed by deep, persistent snow. Europe isn't escaping the chill either. Forecasts show that as the new year begins, much of the continent will be swept by a significant temperature drop, with cities from London to Berlin and beyond facing a winter that's both colder and more unpredictable than usual. In this chapter, we'll break down what's happening in the atmosphere, why these changes matter for you and your community, and most importantly, how you can get ready for a winter that's shaping up to be anything but ordinary. From practical tips to scientific insights, we've got you covered. So grab a warm drink, settle in, and join us as we dive deep into the forecast and explore what this extraordinary winter could mean for all of us. The polar vortex isn't a monster. It's a swirling mass of cold, low-pressure air that sits over the North Pole every winter. When it's strong, it keeps the cold locked up north, and the jet stream flows smoothly, giving us milder winters. But when the vortex weakens, it wobbles and leaks, letting Arctic air spill south into the US, Canada, and Europe. This year, all signs point to a weak, unstable vortex, meaning more cold snaps and winter storms for millions. The real question isn't whether the vortex exists, but how strong it is and where that cold air will go. A strong vortex means calm, a weak one means chaos. This winter, expect chaos. That's why meteorologists are sounding the alarm. Enter sudden stratospheric warming, a dramatic rapid heat wave in the stratosphere that can upend the polar vortex. Powerful energy waves from below surge upward, heating the stratosphere by up to 50 degrees in days. This sudden warmth weakens the vortex, sometimes even splitting it apart or pushing it off the pole. When the vortex falters, Arctic air escapes, setting the stage for severe cold at the surface. This year, models predict a strong, early SSW. Bad news for anyone hoping for a mild winter. The result? A destabilized vortex and a high risk of prolonged cold across the northern hemisphere. It's the perfect recipe for a winter to remember. When the stratosphere heats up, the ground cools down. That's the chain reaction we're watching unfold. After a sudden stratospheric warming event, the once mighty polar vortex weakens dramatically. This swirling mass of cold air, usually locked tight over the Arctic, loses its grip. With its boundaries no longer secure, the frigid Arctic air is set free, no longer contained by the high-altitude winds that usually keep it in place. As the jet stream becomes wavier and more erratic, it acts like a conveyor belt, guiding this cold air southward. The jet stream, which normally flows in a relatively straight path, now dips and bends, creating pathways for Arctic air to surge into lower latitudes. What follows isn't the arrival of a new storm system, but rather a dramatic shift in where the coldest air on Earth is located. This mass migration of cold can persist for weeks, transforming entire regions into winter wonderlands, or icy wastelands. Deep troughs in the jet stream act as channels, funneling bitterly cold air into the heart of the central and eastern United States, as well as much of Europe. These troughs are like atmospheric highways, delivering relentless cold to millions. Meanwhile, ridges in the jet stream push warm air northward into other regions, creating stark contrasts. While some areas shiver, others bask in unseasonable warmth, highlighting the dramatic effects of these atmospheric shifts. This isn't just a fleeting cold snap. Instead, it's the start of a prolonged period of below-average temperatures, with the potential for ongoing snow and ice. People find themselves bundling up day after day, as the cold refuses to let go. Think of it as winter on repeat, extended stretches of frigid weather, snow piling up over time, and thermometers stuck well below normal. The risk of hazardous travel, power outages, and school closures rises as the cold lingers. The jet stream's wild swings mean that while some regions are plunged into deep freeze, others remain relatively untouched, experiencing mild, even pleasant, winter days. This uneven distribution creates a patchwork of winter experiences across the globe. Forecast models for this winter show classic cold air troughs setting up over the US and Europe, signaling the likelihood of repeated cold outbreaks. Meteorologists are watching closely, as these patterns can bring both beauty and danger. The result? Persistent cold, major snowstorms, and a winter season that seems to stretch on and on. For some, it's a wonderland. For others, a challenge to endure. Not every region will feel the same impact. The cold air's reach is uneven, sparing some cities while hitting others with relentless force. But where the Arctic air settles in, it's relentless, bringing deep snow, biting winds, and a true test of winter endurance. Prepare for a season of extremes, from blizzards and ice storms to stretches of calm, from snow-covered streets to frozen lakes. This is winter at its most dramatic. The Arctic's coming to town, bringing with it a winter that will be remembered for its intensity, its unpredictability, and its power to transform the world around us. In North America, the coldest impacts will hit the northern plains, Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. Early, hard, and long. Expect more snow, especially downwind of the Great Lakes, and frequent powerful nor'easters along the east coast. Southern Canada, from the prairies to Quebec, will also be in the deep freeze, with cities like Toronto and Montreal facing a classic snowy winter. Meanwhile, the West Coast and Alaska may see milder, drier conditions, a sharp contrast to the east. This split is the hallmark of a weak polar vortex. One side shivers, the other relaxes. Prepare for a winter of extremes depending on where you live. For many, it'll be a season to remember, or endure. Bundle up, especially if you're east of the Rockies. Europe isn't escaping this winter's wrath. A Greenland block will redirect Arctic air straight into northern and central Europe, setting up the infamous beast from the east. The UK, France, Germany, Poland, and Scandinavia can expect weeks of frost, ice, and heavy snow. Far more than usual. Major cities like London, Paris, and Berlin could see rare, disruptive snow events. Southern Europe will be spared the worst, but even there, cooler days are likely. The cold could snarl travel, strain energy grids, and test everyone's winter resilience. The jet stream's position will decide who gets hit hardest, but the overall signal is clear. Europe, brace yourself. This winter, the Arctic is knocking on your door. SSW and the Polar Vortex aren't acting alone. There are other significant players in the atmospheric game. La Niña and the Quasi-Biennial Oscillation, QBO, are also in play, each contributing their unique influences to the overall weather patterns. La Niña cools the Pacific, amplifying the jet stream's waves and helping Arctic air plunge south. This cooling effect can lead to more pronounced weather events, including stronger storms and colder temperatures. The QBO, now in its easterly phase, makes SSW events more likely by favoring upward-traveling energy waves. These waves can disrupt the stratospheric polar vortex, leading to significant weather changes. This winter, all three patterns, SSW, La Niña, and QBO, are aligning for a triple threat. This rare alignment can create a perfect storm scenario, where the combined effects of these patterns lead to extreme weather conditions. The result, a strong early SSW, a wavy jet stream, and a high risk of cold outbreaks. These conditions can bring about severe winter weather, including heavy snowfall and frigid temperatures. When these climate drivers team up, meteorologists take notice. They closely monitor the interactions between these patterns to predict potential impacts on weather. The odds of a memorable winter just went way up. With the combined influence of SSW, La Niña, and QBO, we could be in for a winter to remember. It's not just one factor, it's a perfect storm of atmospheric forces. Each element plays a crucial role in shaping the winter weather we experience. That's why confidence in a cold, snowy winter is so high. The alignment of these powerful climate drivers suggests that we should prepare for significant winter weather events. To predict this winter, we look to the past, years when SSW, La Niña, and easterly QBO aligned. December 1989 saw a displaced vortex and a record-breaking U.S. cold wave, with temperatures plunging dozens of degrees below normal. The winter of 2010-2011 brought relentless snow and cold to both the U.S. and Europe. Snowmageddon in America, chaos in the UK. These analogs show what's possible, not just one cold snap, but a persistent punishing pattern. Not every SSW brings a deep freeze everywhere, but this year's model agreement is unusually strong. With all the signals lining up, forecasters are confident the cold is coming for North America and Europe. History may not repeat, but it sure does rhyme. Knowing what's coming gives you time to prepare. Don't waste it. Check your heating system, seal up drafts, and make sure your home is winter ready. Update your wardrobe. Dig out heavy coats, boots, and layers for everyone. Prep your car with an emergency kit, blanket, shovel, snacks, and more. Stock up on essentials in case of power outages, flashlights, batteries, food, and water. If you have a fireplace, get firewood ready. Check on neighbors who might need help. Stay informed, follow local forecasts, and be ready to adjust plans as storms approach. A cold winter doesn't have to be miserable if you're prepared. With a little planning, you can stay safe, warm, and maybe even enjoy the snow. This winter, preparation is your best defense.